Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Emmy, and if you've been here before, much has changed over here now, has it? But yeah, so today we're going to be talking about Ophiuchus. Okay, so Ophiuchus to some is the 13th technical zodiac sign, and to others he's nothing more than a constellation. So I'll break it down this video, and by the end of it, please let me know if you feel like Ophiuchus should be a constellation as he is, or if he should be considered a zodiac sign. So Ophiuchus is on the same belt passing over the ecliptic as all the other zodiac signs, like Aries, Pisces, Taurus, Capricorn. Ophiuchus in the sky is in between Scorpio and Sagittarius. So if Ophiuchus was going to be considered a zodiac sign, if your birthday is November 29th to December 13th, then you're technically, if this was a sign, you would be considered an Ophiuchus. If you look at like what NASA says, and I quote, "Zodiac signs are simply constellations that are in line with the Earth and the Sun as the planets follow its orbits. Earth actually travels through 13 signs, including Capricorn, Aries, and yes, Ophiuchus. But since the Babylonians didn't include it and divided zodiac in 12 parts, based on the 12 months after their calendar, according to NASA, Babylonians ignored the fact that the sun actually moves through 13 constellations, not 12. They assigned each 12 constellations equal amounts of time. So left out Ophiuchus because he throws off just the balance of 12 months and 12 signs. But if you look at some calendars, they actually have 13 months. The Babylonians didn't use this calendar. So there's that fact as well, that maybe Ophiuchus fits better in, I think we use a Gregorian calendar, and then on the, I forgot the name. Sorry, because I'm like, sorry, but I forgot the name of the calendars that do use a 13 months. Comment down below if you can jog my memory. Yeah, maybe Ophiuchus fits better there. But since Ophiuchus does make it have an odd number, the 12 zodiac signs into 13, that would make Ophiuchus not having an opposite sign. So every zodiac sign has its opposite. Aries is Libra, Taurus is Scorpio, so Ophiuchus wouldn't have one. Constellation-wise, Ophiuchus is technically, like, constellation-wise opposite would be Orion. I don't believe Orion is ever considered as a zodiac sign, but I find it interesting that Orion is its opposite, because Orion is the hunter. It's a hunter in the sky, and it symbolizes very masculine energy, where Ophiuchus, even though it's a man as well, and he's holding a snake, once we get into the definition of Ophiuchus and what he represents, it is very feminine energy. So that element of having an opposite is still there, even though it's not an actual zodiac sign. But so I guess you could say having an opposite is bigger than just zodiac signs, but just like constellation wise, they all have one. So I think that's pretty interesting that, you know, they try to be like, oh, he doesn't have an opposite, so he can't be a zodiac, but he kind of does. So traditionally, I would say that I feel like people think Mars would be the ruling planet of Ophiuchus. I feel like a lot of astrologers say Ophiuchus is ruled by Mars or Pluto, because there is this element of transformation that Pluto and Mars both possess. And I think because Scorpio is associated in olden astrology being ruled by Mars, and in modern Western astrology it is considered to be ruled by Pluto. So I think that's where that association with Ophiuchus comes in, but I don't find that accurate, because just because it goes next after Scorpio doesn't mean they have the same planet. Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the next sign is Leo being ruled by the sun. Just because they're next to each other doesn't mean they need to have the same planet, right? So I don't really like that ideology. And then if you look at Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So I see how possibly Jupiter, but there's a very deep and karmic energy attached to Ophiuchus, which is why I feel like Ophiuchus would be ruled by Chiron. Now, Chiron is also a planet that is not always talked about, but is very crucial in astrology when looking at someone's birth chart or even the natal chart of the moment. Chiron in mythology is known as the wounded healer. And it's interesting because he's also a centaur, just like Sagittarius, where Ophiuchus is in between Sagittarius and Scorpio. So, you know, the relevant themes of trying to own both Scorpio and Sagittarius. I know I haven't gotten into it yet, but this is good information, which I probably should say at the end. But Greek mythology, Chiron was a centaur who was a master in medicine and natural healing. He was immortal and hit by an arrow. He was permanently injured. When you look at Chiron in astrology, it shows us where our past, where our trauma is rooted, how to work with that pain and how that pain actually fuels us to move forward and how we live our life based off that pain. Chiron is being the healer. He uses that pain that he has experienced to help other people. Okay, and that's Kundalini energy, which is very big with Ophiuchus. So let me just get into it because I feel like I'm not, like, you might be missing what I'm trying to get at. But sorry, I'm looking at my notes. But I highlighted that Ophiuchus tends to take both Scorpio and Sagittarius traits, okay? So Ophiuchus is known as the snake bearer. Ophiuchus is holding a snake, right? And when you look at what snakes represent in indigenous cultures, it's all about rebirth, transformation, ego transformation, right? But and it's interesting because snakes, just like scorpions, they take on similar aspects of Scorpio in this way where there's instinctual needs and there's this need for deepness, human emotion, and like using these deep human emotions to navigate and transmute. I think transmutation is a big key term here when you look at Ophiuchus. Also, Ophiuchus does have like the jealousy and secretive aspects of Scorpio as well. Snakes, not only do they represent transformation and rebirth, they also, when you look at Kundalini energy, if you're familiar with Kundalini energy, it's life force, creative, very feminine energy that is stored in your root chakra, the very root chakra, the most bottom chakra by your hips and like lower back. And this chakra is all about your need for survival and security and being able to navigate the world. And until this level of chakra has been worked through, you can't move up in the higher levels of your chakra, you know? Until you have security and safety, you can't think about creativity and nurturing a relationship. And then once you're able to move up that level, that's when you can start thinking about willpower. Once you start thinking about willpower, you can start thinking about heart chakra, openness. We're all connected, and then moving on higher and higher until you get to the crown chakra, which is just enlightenment in a way. And then it repeats, right? When you look at Sagittarius is also the centaur, like I mentioned, like Chiron. Sagittarius, it rules seeking enlightenment, okay? The highest level of the chakra, like I just mentioned. And Sagittarius is all about optimism, moving forward, enlightenment, spiritual awakening. So I think that Ophiuchus being in between Scorpio and Sagittarius makes a lot of sense because Scorpio is all about transmuting heavy karmic deep energy, right? Sagittarius is about lifting, staying, keeping light, and being one with the cosmos and philosophy, where Ophiuchus is this in between of healing deep energy and helping others heal deep energy. Okay, now that I've kind of talked about that space in between Scorpio and Ophiuchus, I want to get into the space that's in between Ophiuchus and Sagittarius, because when you look at it in astronomy, that's actually the galactic center. And whenever a planet goes through the galactic center, that's where major change and transformation happens. You see, after a planet moves away from this galactic center, that there is a state or a point of higher consciousness that happens, like once it moves into Sagittarius, creating expansion, which is Sagittarius energy. So it makes sense that Ophiuchus sits here in the middle, because Ophiuchus is transformation. Ophiuchus is the representation of taking this dark energy, this deep energy, instinctual, sexual, human nature like Scorpio, but also taking this root energy and being able to transmute it and move up higher. The higher you move up the chakra system, the higher you're able to create more energetic bonds, okay? Transmuting ego, I think, is a big thing here. So Ophiuchus is a very spiritual sign. I mean, I'm not really talking about Ophiuchus as a zodiac sign, and like I'm not trying to just say like, oh, if you're born from November 29th to December 19th, that you're this you're trying to transmute the whole world, but in a way you are in your own ways, like the way you live your life. You probably do want to help people heal. You do want to help people improve, and you pull from your own pain and your own experiences and trying to help other people. Like, I think that aspect is there, but I'm trying to tell you a story, and I'm trying to connect Ophiuchus and how Ophiuchus can be like, because since it's cutting into Scorpio season, when you look at like most like medical professionals and therapists and whatnot, a lot of them tend to be Scorpios, because there's this need or a desire to understand people and help them, the intensity that they have, the passion that they have, help them heal. But I'm trying to just highlight the fact that there's some of that is also Ophiuchus energy. It's not all Scorpio, even though, and I don't want it to seem like Scorpio's only negative aspects. I think it's more earthly and more instinctual and more primal in a way. It's just interesting that Ophiuchus sits here, and it's a very clear transformation in between. Because when you look at Scorpio and Sagittarius by themselves, it's very different. But then when you look at Ophiuchus in between, it's like, whoa, there's like this there's a stepping stone in between them that makes a lot of sense. So that's the picture that I'm trying to paint, and I really hope you're able to follow. And I know that I can be sometimes when I talk, so please let me know if I'm making sense. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below and I will try to answer it to my best of my abilities. Scorpio is all about transformation. This energy of Ophiuchus is trying to transmute ego to reach higher states that Sagittarius possesses. Sagittarius is all about moving forward, transmuting, picking up a new identity, picking up a new life, leaving the past behind and moving forward. And then back to the Kundalini, the snake energy that Ophiuchus is, because Ophiuchus is the snake, okay? And what do snakes represent? Rebirth. And when you look at Kundalini, starting from the root chakra, okay, until you feel safe and secure, Scorpio, surrender and transmute and move higher up your chakras, okay, Sagittarius, up here, all right? So there's this healing and ego, death and rebirth. Snakes, they shed their skin, okay? So imagine shedding the skin at each chakra, and you're moving higher and higher, and you're transmuting and you're expanding into higher states of consciousness and being. Wow, I feel like I'm sounding, I got the voodoo for you bitches, but it is what it is. I would say the tarot card that is associated with Ophiuchus would be the World card. It actually is a woman. Let me look at the pictures. I think I forgot. I think it's either a wreath or it's a snake. Okay, it's a woman in a wreath, but it gives me snake. It gives me snake. I mean, I could be wrong here, but the World card, I'm not wrong about this. The World card represents enlightenment. It represents periods ending and beginning. It also represents harmony and contentment in the world that you're in, right? Or in your world, and finding peace and balance and the ending and beginning of a new journey. So the reason why I say that this would be the card for Ophiuchus wants you to raise your vibration, raise your state of consciousness, raise the chakra that you are remaining in, and like the state of consciousness that you're in. Every time you raise, you begin and end that journey. So that's why I would say that it's associated with the World card, and there's a sense of beauty and optimism that's attached to it as well. And I think it's also the final major arcana card. I could be wrong. Yeah, so I'm not really going to like talk about characteristics that somebody would have if they were an Ophiuchus, but I do think that there's a certain like, I want to heal the world energy that they have, maybe not world, but maybe just the people in their world. Or you know how Sagittarius just understands there's something bigger than them, and to understand people who have different experiences than you is how you go about life. Well, I think with Ophiuchus, there's a certain mindset that they have, that they understand life is a process, okay? So it's like the step before a full, like, they understand life is a process, basically. Let me not confuse myself. Let me make it more complicated. They understand that life is a process. So transmuting, okay? That same, I'm going to keep it to the same snake terminology, transmuting and changing. So helping people heal by this is your situation before, let's make it this one. This is how you thought before, let's make it this way. You didn't understand this before, now you do. Accountability. There's a certain ability to be accountable that they possess in themselves, but also that they want to help with other people. They're probably the type that's always trying to change their perspective on life or learn more about life and just become a more well-rounded person in any area. I don't want to make it too specific, but I don't want to be too vague, but I don't want to get into it too much because I really don't know. I'm not like, I've been studying astrology for like about 3 years now. So it's like, I'm still noob. I'm very much so a noob to this shit. So I go based off intuition and how I feel when I say these things, as well as looking at the facts, okay? But that's as far as I feel comfortable, like, explaining the trait. Yeah, I just feel like there's a certain aspect of like, once you know the truth, you need to move forward in that. And I think that's how they live their life. Like you search for the truth, and then once you find it, it forces you to move in a new direction, which I think is pretty similar to Sagittarius, where they are the truth, but they also like are seeking more knowledge and expanding in that way. Yeah, the ability to transmute, I think that they are able to really go with the flow and understand that life is a journey and that there's certain ebbs and flows and it's not always just a high. Where Scorpio is always afraid of like letting go and control and power, so sometimes it can be very self-limiting. And where Sagittarius is all optimism, and Ophiuchus is kind of like, okay, well, life goes like this. It goes up and it goes down, and when I'm down, I'm gonna go back up, and when I'm up, I will eventually go down, and just riding the wave of life. I think there's this kind of perspective that they possess. Another thing about Ophiuchus is Ophiuchus doesn't have a element attached to it, so fire, air, earth, or water. Some people would say, I guess, like ether, the fifth element, so like space dimension, which I think makes sense. I would say that Ophiuchus would probably be a mutable sign because they are able to change and go with new directions, kind of like Pisces. So yeah, I would say that. Now that I've kind of talked about all of that and you have a better understanding, the reason why I feel like its ruling planet would be Chiron is because it's changeable and it wants to heal and it wants to help others and it wants to move in a forward direction. I feel like Chiron would be the ruling planet for Ophiuchus because when you look at Chiron, it's all about where are your core wounds and how can we overcome them? What did you experience and how can we evolve it and transmute this energy to make it something beautiful? You know, for example, if somebody experienced domestic violence, this traumatic experience, okay, and now they're over here, you know, once they get out of the situation, God allowing, and I hope that happens to anybody who's watching this that's experiencing this, I send you love, but yeah, then they become a speaker on domestic violence and how they use their most painful experience into something that helps others heal. So that's a very big energy here of Ophiuchus. That's what I'm really trying to highlight. What experiences have you gone through? You know, like for me, I have a Chiron in Libra, so I've been hurt really bad by relationships, which is one of the reasons why I try so hard to be really fair and kind and open and understanding in my relationships and practice active listening, because I know how it feels to not have somebody give that to me, which is why I try so hard to give that to other people. So that is finding where our own experiences lie in pain and trauma and abandonment even, and using those experiences to guide us and to teach us and to heal ourselves first, because you have to heal yourself first, and then that healing that you've done can then be sent and spread to other people and other areas of our lives and areas of other people's lives. So yeah, Chiron, and that's the thing that like astrology has this way of being a little ironic, because Chiron, like I mentioned, was a centaur. He was a healer. He was a medicine man who became permanently injured after like a poisoned arrow hit him, and he could never heal himself because he was immortal and he was stuck with a damaged leg, I believe, for the rest of his life. He was also a philosopher, okay? Sagittarius energy, philosopher, Scorpio, healing, finding the root of our wounds and how we can use those that pain and the trauma to heal and help other people heal. So yeah, that is Ophiuchus, and I think that if Ophiuchus's story is beautiful, and I think that it is something to share, and I think like, especially as an empath, or like to my fellow empathic people, I think this is a beautiful story to share, and I think that Ophiuchus gets kind of forgotten. I hope you enjoyed this explanation of Ophiuchus. Sorry, I started to get a little tired there. I couldn't even look you in the eyes. I was just spacing out looking at my plant. She's not doing too well in that corner, so I have to figure out what to do to make her feel better. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video and listening to me babble on, okay? And I hope you have a good rest of your day. And if you thought this information was interesting, helpful, insightful, please like this video and comment and let me know what you thought of it. And if I was just jabbering, if it didn't make sense. And then also subscribe to my channel so you can be notified when I come out with more content. I would really appreciate that. Thank you for stopping by and being a part of my community. And I wish you love. Bye.